We are on the Mayflower. It is with Erdinger. I've got Stu and Kev here. They've got frisky and got excited with the Erdinger early. It's the right sort of show for it because we very rarely do this sort of thing, but what would it be in an international break? What I thought we would do is have a bit of a chat with these two about their all-time Liverpool 11. So I've asked them both to pick their, not all-time, I want to be clear, since they've been going the match. This is a really important detail. I think you can't pick players if you didn't get to see them properly. For instance, I think everyone would acknowledge Graham Souness is in Liverpool's all-time 11. Kenny Dalglish somewhere is in Liverpool's all-time 11. But if you didn't get to see them in the flesh, I think it makes it harder to work out how it is you play and how it is you do it. So you have both picked really interesting teams. By the way, really interesting teams. And I want to get into
system's the same,
the how and why. You've sort of gone 4-3-3-ish,
yeah,
both of you, but you've got a little bit of room to say, well, maybe I'm not entirely committed to that. So what I think is really interesting is one of yous, and we're going to do this all the way through, because there's the obvious players. You have both picked Steven Gerrard. You both picked Virgil van Dijk. You both picked Alisson Becker. So let's sort of, we can go through and sort of say that those ones are there and there's no getting away from it. That's the way in which it is. Only one of you has picked Javier Mascherano. Have a little look for you which of these two men. One of them has picked Javier Mascherano. Guess which one? Stu Wright, Javier Mascherano.
I don't think that's controversial at all, really.
I think it's a little bit controversial.
No, I don't. I think there was a time there where we all sang the fact that we had the best midfield in the world, and Mascherano was a very big part of that. Mascherano goes on to play for Barcelona, wins everything time and time again, goes on to captain Argentina. What a player. You put him, I think as well, the pick of Mascherano was also influenced by the other two picks in my midfield, because it's, I've got an eye on balance there as well. It's not just about picking.
No, I'm going to get on to
this. We've both had the same thought process here in terms of I wanted the balance as well, which allowed the other two to flourish. Yeah, but I didn't pick Mascherano though. Mascherano, an unbelievable player, really enjoyed watching him. Couldn't really pass the ball. So I went, it's got my to say.
So you go on to, no, not on that one. I want to do something else first. In the midfield, because it's dead interesting in the midfield. One of you has picked Alonso. Look at these two gentlemen. Which of them's gone for Alonso? Stu Wright, Alonso.
Best midfield in the world. It was Mascherano, Alonso, and you've already said that I picked Gerrard. There's my three. And I think it stands up against anyone. Alonso's travelled the world to all the best teams in the world.
Yeah, but whilst he's at Liverpool, that was a crucial.
Everything.
Yeah, but I only really want him whilst he's at Liverpool, if you know what I mean. Like, that's the player we're talking about here. But I'm all right with you picking Alonso. I think there's a really strong argument for Alonso. I think Mascherano is more controversial than Alonso.
But I think they come as a three. I think that Mascherano, Alonso and Gerrard are just peerless as a three. Peerless. I think they offer fight. I think they offer poise, passing, power, drive, goals. I think they've got absolutely everything. And if you're in the engine room, by the way, in the opposition, and you're facing those three, and you're thinking, well, we're going to get outpassed by him and him, we're going to get outfought by the other two. I just think that they've got, as a three, everything. And I would say that regardless of who your three are, because I don't know who they are. I would say that if my three were coming up against your three, whoever they are, I'd still fancy my chances going toe to toe.
Are you struck by his? Yeah. I mean, we're all talking about brilliant players here. Let's be clear. All the way we're going to do this, and it's like, well, you picked X. We're all.
I'm not going to sit here and say Javier Alonso shite.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, fucking rubbish.
Yeah, but I haven't picked him, and I haven't picked Mascherano because the Mascherano one, as great as he was, like technically wasn't the best. Fighting desire, unbelievable, potentially unmatched. But
I'm not sure he goes and plays for Barcelona, wins everything he does, and captains Argentina, and wins everything he does, if he's technically not good enough.
Okay,
I think we can go too far on there. You know what I mean? He's not Isvan Cosme. You know what I mean? He's not Enzo.
Who was your other option for that role that you considered for the deep lying midfielder?
I was quite clear that they were the three standouts.
So you didn't even consider Fabinho?
I did consider him, but I thought the three.
So Fabinho, the lighthouse one, as he was known?
If I was having Fabinho, my issue was if I had Fabinho and Alonso, I felt it was too passive. I wanted more of a dynamic, balanced midfield.
So that's one of the reasons I didn't pick Alonso, because I wanted Fabinho. Because Fabinho, for me, is one of the most underrated players we'll probably ever have. Like, he was... Now people will be like, he's all right, but when you watch them and when we played and when we ticked and we were you're talking about the best midfield in the world, I'm talking about the best team in the world. We were the best team in the world with him sitting there and allowing the other players to go on and do what they did. But he also had the ability to make the goal against Man City. Like, God bless Javier Mascherano, and the goal against Everton, like, celebrated it like no one's business, but I think it was going into, like, the family stand, wasn't it, at Goodison over there. So I went for Fabinho because his ability to make a team tick at whatever level he wanted to tick at. In your midfield, that's Alonso, isn't it? So Alonso's your time and change for the midfield. I've gone for the Fabinho ability to decide we're going fast or we're going slow, because the two I've picked ahead of him, obviously Gerrard, speaks for itself. It'd be important.
But also, I want to come back and see your sort of tactical thoughts there, because I think you both thought tactically. You've gone with, I watched these three, you saw how they all dovetail together. Sometimes Alonso would sit and Mascherano would go. Sometimes Mascherano would sit and Alonso would go. And they play, or more accurately, Alonso would play in front of him, and you got these little moves. One of the things I'm struck by with yours, and I think Fabinho's Liverpool career, honestly, like in loads of ways, he's almost, and I don't know how articulate a fella he is, so I don't want to get too carried away with this, but in loads of ways, for me, it's one of the most fascinating Liverpool careers where I love to hear him talk about it or write about it, because it is effectively only about 3.5 years.
What, 3.5
Well, but he doesn't play much in 2018 for us. He signs in the summer, doesn't play much, and then he's all in from 2019 until the summer of 2022. And then the following season, he's knackered. He's absolutely exhausted. So it's this really intense period where Liverpool break 90 points three times over the course of it, 18, 19, 19, 20 and 21, 22. Reach through that period of time 2 European Cup finals, win a league title, win a European Cup. That's Fabinho's Liverpool career, and there's a pandemic in there, by the way, just for some colour when he tells the stories. It's got all that in it, and I am like, you stop to think about that now, and it's not that far removed, but oh my God, it's quite something.
Yeah, and that team, as I say, best in the world. We were literally the best team in the world. We said it numerous times. Them stats you just ran through there, they roll off the tongue, but if you break them down, broken 90 points 3 seasons in a row, 2 European Cup finals and won a league. Wow.
3 seasons in a row in front of people. Fuck the pandemic
year
off.
That doesn't count.
No, because I'm not with you 100%. Fuck the pandemic year off.
That doesn't count. Wow, do you know what I mean? And he was the orchestrator of that. Like, not in the way that Alonso orchestrated the other midfield, more in the terms of he got to play the game.
Can you guess who he's gone for?
Well, just on the Fabinho thing, just one more thing on it. Because I get what you're saying, and he's a brilliant player. He needs to be spoken about in those terms. However, in the team that was the best in the world, he also had ahead of him Mo Salah, Bobby Firmino, Sadio Mane. He had Virgil van Dijk behind him, and he had Alisson Becker in goal. He had that Robertson on the left. So Mascherano, Gerrard and Alonso did not have that. Let's be clear about who they had in their team. They had Torres ahead of them when he was fit. But they also had Albert Riera on the left. All right. You look at the players that were around them; they were nowhere near the level. And one more thing on the Fabinho that he had in his corner, he had Jurgen Klopp. Okay, whereas the Alonso, Mascherano and Gerrard did not have that. I'm a big fan of Rafa Benitez, but let's be clear on Jurgen Klopp and Rafa Benitez.
Some revisionism going on at Rafa.
I love Rafa, but
can you guess who he's gone for then as his other one? So he's got Fabinho, he's got Gerrard. Guess who he's gone for as his other one?
I reckon I could give you 5 guesses and I'm not sure he'd get it.
Well, there's a level of recency bias that I'm a little bit cautious of as well around Fabinho, and I'm just wondering if that's a factor here. Is it under the Jurgen Klopp era?
Go on, we'll give you the clue.
It's under Klopp. Henderson?
Nope.
No.
I'm enjoying the tension for the viewers.
Wijnaldum?
He's gone for Wijnaldum.
I've gone for Wijnaldum.
He's gone for Wijnaldum.
Brilliant player, loved him, but he's not in the all-time Liverpool 3 midfield. He's just not.
In terms
of... Or in what you've... I mean, I'm a little bit older.
So you've both done something quite similar, because you've gone for that 3 that you've gone for, and you've said, I've seen that 3 and that 3 was amazing. What Kev's done is Kev's looked at the 3 that got all those points hauls, achieved everything it achieved, and he's gone, I'm going to upgrade on Jordan Henderson with Steven Gerrard. That's what you've done, isn't it? That's actually what you've done.
Yeah,
you can imagine how Wijnaldum's left, tucks in, looks after, works with Fabinho, does loads of grafts for everyone, works all this out, is capable of scoring a big goal, which I think is also worth acknowledging. And you've gone, love Henderson, I suspect you love Henderson, you're not going to talk him down, but you've gone, imagine if Gerrard was Henderson.
It's not even just that with Wijnaldum for me. I from the moment we signed him, I loved him. Just my type of footballer. Technically unbelievable, really unassuming. Brilliant type of goal, as you've said, but then he's like Adam Lallana. It's like levels of work ethic, but with fucking Mo Salah in his area, skills on the ball. I hate all like the new bollocksy terms like press resistance, But if you look at press resistance in whatever fucking thing,
100%, yeah.
His ability to hold on to the ball in midfield, surrounded by men, and then play the right pass was absolutely unmatched. And the other thing I wanted to do with picking Wijnaldum is, so initially, my initial thought was when I went through it, I picked the players who were obvious to me, and I left the gaps in between them. So obviously Gerrard, he's going in, Virgil's going in. So I looked at my midfield and I thought, I want Gerrard to be the Gerrard of the just slightly further forward to the right. Not the right wing Gerrard, but the one playing just slightly further forward to the right. And what I wanted was somebody who could supplement and attack in terms of just slightly on the other side of the pitch. But I also wanted somebody, if we were under pressure, that my front three and Gerrard could stay there and he could tuck into there. And Ronaldo played centre-half for us a few times. And his ability to nick a ball when the counter-attack looked dangerous, in my opinion, was unmatched. He's another one who I think is so underrated by Liverpool fans. When he went, we didn't half miss him. Like, when we didn't give him that contract extension, I was absolutely heartbroken. Because he's an unbelievable player who, he's great on his own. But in terms of what he does, he allows so many other people to be greater than they already are. And in the with Gerrard and the front three that I've picked, a player like him, I think, really unlocks that ability for them to just go, you just do what you do, boys, I'll sort this.
Loved him as a player, and there's no doubt that, you know, Fabinho and Wijnaldum were key components to what was, for the time there, clearly the best team in the world. But I don't think at any point they were key components of what was the best midfield in the world.
Okay.
I don't think that actually. Sorry.
You going on,
I'm going to speak. Right. I don't think they were the best midfield in the Premier League, and I think there's a strong argument to say that Man City's midfield, even when Liverpool were in their pomp, the midfield was better than Liverpool's. I actually think that Mascherano and Gerrard and Alonso were the best midfield in the world at the time. It wasn't just a song, it was reality. But what was around them was nowhere near the best team in the world. So I think Fabinho and Wijnaldum, absolutely adored them as players, particularly Wijnaldum. I agree with everything that you said about him. Everything about Fabinho as well, I agree with, except for one thing for the pair of them. Putting them in this team ahead of Alonso and Mascherano.
Okay, so just on back to, so the only one we disagree on really, there's an argument that Fabinho and Mascherano were interchangeable. I think we both agree.
Okay.
Yeah. So Alonso, unbelievable player. I am not trying to do him down. Do you know when we tried to sell him to buy Gareth Barry? What were your thoughts at the time?
I thought it was insane.
I was absolutely fine with it. Totally fine with it. I think he was unbelievable the first season he came in. I think he was good the second season, I think he was good the third season, and I think his final season, he stepped up the level. In a 4-year Liverpool career, I would argue that he only had 2 seasons of absolute brilliance, which, listen, it's 2 more than most people get, of course.
Do you know how old he was when we signed him?
About 22, I think.
Yeah, he was 22.
Yeah, 22.
How old's Carragher?
Yeah.
All right.
I wouldn't put him in midfield either.
No, but my point is, he was a very, very young player, and young players can be like that and they develop. What was he like in his final season for Liverpool? He was unbelievable. What was he like in his first season for Liverpool? He was unbelievable.
He was unbelievable at home.
Pardon?
He was unbelievable at home in his first season.
He was 22.
But for me, loads of ways, I think that Alonso's best season, or the season I thought was most impressive, was his second. I take your point in that there weren't as many heart-stopping moments in his second season, but fuck me, did he learn how to fight.
Yeah,
he fought for his life second season.
What an education.
I do not want to be sitting here thinking...
You're not talking Xabi Alonso down.
Please don't anyone think I don't love Xabi Alonso. I fucking do. I really do. But it always sticks with me that it felt a little bit disappointing to me at the time that when it come that his position was getting questioned, and listen, it sounds ridiculous, would you have Xabi Alonso or Gareth Barry? Obviously we're having Xabi Alonso, that's not an argument. But in the team, what that needed, I understood. I wasn't delighted, but I understood.
Do you know why Rafa was even considering that? Because he was managing Liverpool at a time that had to sell to buy.
Yeah, of course.
If he wasn't in that position, he wouldn't have even...
But I think that's an interesting, genuine on something he says. The other thing he wanted to do is he wanted to go to 4-3-3, where he had Barry left, Gerrard right, and Mascherano, which throws us back to the formation that we've all both picked, because we could see how that would work intuitively, because you get what you wanted. And Barry being left-footed, I think, felt a bit more in there. We're with Erdinger, we're in the Mayflower. This is the Friday night bedding in. I was sort of hoping this would be quite a quick one, and yeah, we're going to be here for
here we are.
Welcome back, it's Friday night. I've got these two arguing over the first 11. I don't know why I haven't done this for ages, because I've really enjoyed that first part. 2 people absolutely going at it. You both picked Virgil. You picked Hansen. You are a little older than Kev, so you got to see Hansen the very end of his career. Can you remember being really impressed by him?
Yeah, I mean, I even remember seeing him in a testimonial after his career had finished, and it was at a time when testimonials were played with a lot of first-team players, the opposition, and he was the best player on the park by a mile. By a mile.
Fresh.
Honest to God.
His knees worked.
Just like he'd had 6 months off, he just needed to rejuvenate, and he was away. He was unbelievable. But I think, I said to you before, and I said, I didn't see enough of Hansen to be absolutely, to make this absolutely fair. I saw him a fair few times.
I'm older than me than you.
Well, how old are you?
I'm 42.
I'm 47.
Yeah, so you, because I seen the very tail end of Hansen and loved him, but that extra few years you got of him, he was unbelievable.
Yeah, so my childhood was the 80s.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, he was, at the end of the day, if this was simplified to an all-time Liverpool 11,
yeah, there's no doubt.
it's Virgil and it's Hansen. I think we both agree. Let's shake hands right there. You know what I mean?
100%.
Absolutely. I saw more of other players than Hansen, and certainly got into my teenage years with other players. So my next pick down would have been Hyypia. Hyypia alongside Virgil. But what I loved about Hansen as well, apart from his ball-playing skills, apart from his leadership, his grace, he also had amazing recovery pace.
Yeah.
Amazing recovery pace, and I think that would have been perfect alongside Virgil.
Yeah, no, I think Hansen's just, I think he's another one of those names, and there's a few of them who are now dotted around. Both, I think there's a category of Liverpool player who's underrated in general, and I think Hansen's become one of them. But I also think there's a category of footballer in English football who's now underrated, and I think Hansen is firmly, like Alan Shearer, firmly in that category as to where everyone, you know, I think in a really weird way, he'd probably be thought of more fondly if he'd have had the career that he and the performances he had in the 70s. Yeah. In a bit of a funny way, because he just comes in that pre-Premier League era. I think it's a little bit missed how just fundamentally incredible he was in the position. By the way, how much did you enjoy Hansen giving Virgil the trophy?
Oh, it was amazing. It was really emotional, wasn't it?
It was.
Especially after what we've seen that Hansen's been through over the last year. It was the perfect moment. If you were on the verge of tears beforehand,
the two of them in front of the cop, the two of them in front of the cop, and the way they both were, like, because I just believe Virgil has watched every video we could of Alan Hansen, if you know what I mean, and Virgil's like, this fella's amazing, it's unbelievable I'm here with this fella, and Hansen's obviously like, you're amazing. The two of them, honestly, it'll go down as one of my favourite moments in my life. We've got that big canvas print that I've got for the new studio, and it moves around. But I got it, like, I was just like, I can't believe I get to spend the company's money on this. And genuinely, that's why I did it. It was like the most self-indulgent thing ever. I was like, hang on, no, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Can I buy the most beautiful thing I've ever seen?
It was like, everyone's seen that Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other. Well, the only problem with that is, it should be for them two. The two Supermens looking at each other, do you know what I mean? It should be the Superman meme, because they were that good. They were everything as for the generations of Liverpool supporters that grew up, in terms of ball playing, in terms of defending, in terms of leadership, cool, everything.
You went with Carragher.
Oh yeah, I think again, it's not only it's a controversial choice. I toyed with the idea of Hyypia. I loved him at the time, but I also tried to go for a little bit of balance. Hyypia was a bit more of a Virgil van Dijk style defender, and Carragher could adapt himself to any role in the team.
Carragher would have been my next shout.
Yeah. So I also, with an eye on, you need a Scouse heartbeat to the team, in my opinion. I've got a Scouse, like, I've got obviously Gerrard's up there as well. But with Carragher, my thing is, again, I think he's massively underrated.
So do I.
In terms of his technical ability, probably, like, it's not necessarily comparing like for like, comparing players then to players now. They were asked to two totally different things. But if he'd have come up in this era of football, he'd have learned those things and he'd been absolutely fine doing it. But the thing we were saying before about blood and thunder and leadership and the desire and the will to win and the willingness to leave your whole body out on the pitch, we've never had a player, even Gerrard, who was to that level as Carragher was.
I think what would be, I like your partnership. Completely agree on Hansen, full stop. But I like your partnership in that I'm pleased you went with Carragher, because I do think, you know, you've got to have that idea of, right, one centre half does this, one centre half does this. I'm really pleased you also mentioned his technical ability. I don't like how that gets talked down.
Yeah.
Carragher could pass the ball. In fact, if I have a criticism of Jamie watching him, I at times felt he didn't back himself enough. I think if he had a manager like Klopp and managed it in an era...
I was just about to say that. I think it was instruction over like what he wants to do. I think we had the 4 centre-halves, didn't we? And we played we are solid. Whereas Carragher, as I said to you, if he played now, let's put it this way, every team leaves one player with the ball, don't they? So for us now, it's Kanate. No one's leaving Jamie Carragher with the ball, mate. I'm telling you that now for absolute fact.
I think, I'm a stand-by, obviously, me Virgil and Handsome one, but I think, I'd be quite happy to be swayed on the Carragher over Hyypia shout. I think there's a little bit of recency emotion in my Hyypia shout, because you know what's happening if Hyypia's playing alongside Virgil? We're not conceding from set pieces. So I'm sick and tired of it.
Right. Very fair. Go ahead, fuck it, yeah. Sorry, carry it out.
No, as I say, I think it's underrated how good he was technically. I think the idea of him being able to step out with the ball, I'd like to see more of it. And I think playing next to someone like Virgil, I think he'd be great for it as well. And no, into that 100%. You both ultimately went for Trent. You did a Rob Jones / Trent. Is there a reason why Kev went for Trent? Just flat went for Trent.
So I think, to be honest, there's a third one, and it's the one that I said to you before.
Can I guess?
Go on.
Finn?
No.
No?
There's another shout that I think
Steve Nicol.
Steve Nicol.
Yeah, you're Steve Nicol, not
I think
Babel.
Liverpool have been blessed with players who can play it right back between Babel, Nicol, Rob Jones and Trent. The Rob Jones shout is, I think Rob Jones had a really unfortunate career with the shin splints that curtailed it too quickly, and also happened to come into a Liverpool team in the beginning of the Souness era where Liverpool were on the downturn. But people forget, Rob Jones, if you haven't seen Rob Jones, he was incredible footballer. He came in from Crewe for pennies, and his first game was to mark Ryan Giggs.
Yeah, he was the best player in the league.
He was the best player in the league, and Ryan Giggs didn't get a kick. Rob Jones was unbelievable defensively. He was incredible going forward. He was fast. He was good in the tackle. He'd cause problems. He'd create. The only thing that Rob Jones got criticism for, because time and time he got himself in a position was he never scored.
Never scored a goal.
And the partnership with him and McManaman on the right was an absolute joy. It was Liverpool's.
Were you not tempted by McManaman?
I was seriously tempted.
Yeah. But I've gone with who I'm gone with.
I would argue you could be tempted by McManaman in midfield if you played a midfield three. There's one in there.
Well, Liverpool fans, there's so many players.
Yeah, of course, I'm just intrigued that neither of you went with them, and that's fine.
But Rob Jones, I think you can't get past what Trent's won, and you can't get past of Trent's technical ability. If you ask me whether Rob Jones, as an orthodox fullback, was a better defender than Trent by a mile. Was he better at carrying the ball and dribbling and overlapping his winger? Absolutely he was. But Trent offers something unique, which is why I couldn't pick between them. But
I was nearly sick of me about picking Trent. He's a little prick and I hate him, but he's fucking boss of footy. Like, absolutely boss of footy.
I actually couldn't believe your maturity. I feel like this is growth.
As I say, I wanted to be sick into me mouth, but you watch Trent play football, and I've said on shows over the last years leading up to him leaving, he was our best player, including Virgil and Mo. Like, technically, the way he plays football, unbelievable. I think the closer he got to his move, I think the worse he became. I think he started believing his own hype. And then, listen, as I say, I can't wait. Well, I'm not going to take the show, but I can't, you can't look at him and the things that he did playing right back and not think, fuck, Rob Jones was my other one. Steve Nicol, it's funny because one of my other picks, I've probably seen Steve Nicol play as much as, but my other one, you'll understand when I say it. Steve Nicol was brilliant, but also he was brilliant for Liverpool earlier than I can really remember him playing. Like, I started going to match in the late 80s, so I got to see, when you got the understanding, the Steve Nicol of 91, 92, and I think...
Moving into when he's playing centre-half more and all later.
And we were shite, do you know what I mean? So I didn't pick Nicol, but I think had I been a little bit older, he would have 100% have been in with the shout.
Unbelievable player.
Such a good footballer.
Unbelievable player. Technically, he was so quick, amazing at tackle. The way he would jockey players, he'd make them commit, and then he'd just take the ball off them. He could play right back, centre half,
so
left
clever.
back, right midfield, left midfield, centre midfield. He could play him anywhere in those first two lines.
He was one of those players, Nicol, who didn't look quick, and then no one would ever catch him.
Like Robertson?
Yeah. That's so you'd be like, oh, he's not very, he doesn't look the quickest. And then you'd be like, oh, fucking hell. Yeah. All the best.
How many Liverpool fullbacks, by the way, away from home, go and score a hat-trick? Yeah. He went away from home to Newcastle and met him the next day. I met him the next day in Phil Thompson's Kirby joinery at the time.
Behind the eye, right?
And he had like he had a black eye because he took an elbow with it the previous day. So I had a little cuddle with him, but he was an unbelievable player, and he was playing right back that day and scores a hat-trick. Incredible.
All right, that's that one done. You've sorted the defence out.
So left back, did we both go for that one?
Yeah, and you both picked Suarez and Barnes. So that's not controversial, you both picked Suarez and Barnes. Viewers, very quickly, one of these men picked Mo Salah, the other one picked Robbie Fowler.
Hey, if you have to take more than a split second to figure out who that one was.
Surprised at the start, you've gone for Robbie.
Robbie Fowler was the greatest thing I've ever seen on 2 feet. Fucking, I loved him. Loved him. I can't describe the feelings that I had towards Robbie Fowler. As when he come through, I would have been, so he comes in 94, 93, 94, something around there. So I'm 10, 11 years old, and this kid just comes in and smashes 5 past Fulham, and then it seemed like he just never stopped scoring forever. And even when he was being a bellend, I didn't care. It was everybody else's fault except for Robbie's. But honestly, I didn't give a fuck who he'd upset. Phil Thompson, European Cup winning captain, go and eat shit. Let Robbie play. Just let Robbie play. Houllier, leave him alone. Do you know, that was my thing with Fowler. I loved him because he was just a Scouse kid, and he played football like I would expect a Scouse to play, with a swagger like Wayne Rooney plays football, with a swagger that just says, I'm better than you.
There's loads of players who I quite like comparing Fowler to. So David Villa's one. That sort of, what you think I'm not in this game, I'm now in this game, yeah. Watch this, have a big ball of this. You've mentioned Rooney there, I think Rooney's another good comparison. Every now and again I'll catch a player and I'll go, bit foul of that. And that's, it's almost in a way one of the highest compliments I can give to any footballer. You know, there'll be some lads who from nowhere will have 10 minutes playing for Brighton and I'll go, oh, feels a bit like watching Robbie this, and it's like this fresh kind of excitement of, a bit like watching Robbie. Do
you know if you got Fowler now, in the way the teams are set up? So you look at Haaland and he's a goal machine. He's an absolute anomaly, but it's all designed to facilitate that. Fowler played in more of a 4-4-2 either, didn't he? And listen, he had some unbelievable partnerships. His partnership with Stan Collymore. Collymore was, listen, he's a bell end, but he's an unbelievable footballer. That partnership was great. As even underrated his partnership with Owen. They both scored goals. He done well with.
You like playing with Heskey, you like playing with Lippmann, and you like playing with Schmitzer.
There's a reason, because he was brilliant. Do you know what I mean? He could adapt his game to play with whoever was there. If you had him now, a fully fit Robbie Fowler scoring, as maybe, well, I'm gonna say fuck it, he scores as many as Haaland. If you had a main focal point attacker, because in them days you had 2 of them, so that's 2 fellas whose job it is to score them goals, and they both believe that it's their job in a singularity to score those goals. Nowadays, people value assists and stuff like that. There was never a thing back then. Fowler could score whatever goal. So I don't care what goal you pick a goal and I'll get you a Robbie Fowler version of it on YouTube. There wasn't a goal.
Describe a hypothetical goal and Robbie's got one.
You think of a goal that you think has never been scored, he's got 3 of them. He was honestly the greatest thing I've ever seen on 2 feet, and I still love him to this day.
You gone for Salah?
No, I'm gone for Suarez. Centre forward.
No, but you've gone Salah as well.
Oh, yeah, well.
So he went Suarez. He's gone Suarez, Barnes, Fowler. You've gone Suarez, Barnes, Salah.
Yeah, I mean, not picking Fowler, by the way. I mean, I've spoken about Hansen, I've spoken about Nicol, so people should rightly be saying, why aren't you talking about Liverpool's all-time record goal scorer, Ian Rush? Why aren't you talking about him?
So I had the same feeling, but I was just a little bit young.
Well, so I started going regularly when Rush was at Liverpool, but it was the second coming of Rush.
So you were 89, yeah.
Well, yeah. So at that point, it was a different Rush that came back to us, and he just wasn't quite the same. So for me, then, if I'm looking, Kev's talking about his centre forward pick there, so I do want to speak about my centre forward pick really, because Rob.
Well, no, he's picked Suarez as well. So
but I've picked Suarez on the right hand side of it.
Right, okay, so you're going to move Suarez right.
There's a comparison here because Fowler is technically the best striker of a ball, the best striker that I've ever seen play for Liverpool. But Luis Suarez, the best centre forward I've ever seen play for Liverpool by a mile, by the way, and the difference was that Luis Suarez, he could occupy an entire back 4 single-handedly.
And the away end as well.
I don't think. I think we might suggest that Robbie Fowler could do that, but there's no evidence to back it up because he wasn't asked to do that.
Yeah.
All right. So Fowler didn't have the pace, the aggression, or that. No,
Robbie Fowler was fast.
No, I'm saying he didn't have the pace of Suarez, the aggression of Suarez, and this multitude of skills and sins that Suarez had. Fowler was very much, he was a killer. And wherever you put it, he was an absolute killer. He was lethal, and he made goal scoring an art form. I think, you know, I'm older than you, but I'm not old enough to remember Jimmy Greaves. But I've seen footage, and I can see why people compared Fowler to Jimmy Greaves. But Suarez was something where, again, I'm thinking about balance of my team. I'm thinking, right, who do I want to occupy?
Once I got up front, I was like, fuck the balance. I've got enough balance at the back. You three just go sick.
So I want Suarez to absolutely cause mayhem in the middle. I want, like you, I want prime time Barnes on the left. Yeah. Okay, not the Barnes that became late in his career. Prime time Barnes. Yeah. And it was Mane came very close, but Barnes was the best player in the world.
Mane was my other one, and Barnes, because I've said I couldn't pick Nicol because I didn't see enough of him, and I said I couldn't pick Rush, but they're exactly the same era. Because Barnes was so good when I first started understanding what football was, and he was doing what he was doing, I remember thinking, like, that goal against Hyypia, the one against Aston Villa where he just cuts inside when we win 9 in a row and just bends it in the top corner.
He felt like the best thing you've ever seen.
Honest to God, you get goosebumps thinking about these players, and that's what I picked my front three on.
People talk about Thierry Henry. My God, Barnes. Did you see Barnes?
Yeah.
You know, I'm Thierry Henry, what a player, but Barnes was as good.
Probably what Neil said before about the Alan Hansen being underrated thing, because he's just prior to that Premier League thing. And Barnes obviously isn't because he plays through, but he plays through basically on one leg in the centre of midfield, and he's still good. But my God, after he got that injury, did it kill him? Because on that left-hand side, wow.
So then you got Barnes, I've got Suarez playing centre forward. Fowler would have been my next choice, probably followed by Torres, but Suarez is it. And then on the right side, I mean, I'd struggle if the right side is open. I'd struggle to find anywhere else. You couldn't pick someone ahead of Mo Salah, because the sheer volume of goals, the sheer statistics tell you what he's done, and then his record backs up in terms of trophies and all that type of stuff.
And also the longevity. Fowler in a way, in that you see it a little bit differently, but it's almost any type of goal.
Yeah.
With Salah, you end up going, you describe a goal, well, there's a Mo Salah equivalent. Yeah. This is the Mo Salah equivalent to this, the Mo Salah equivalent to this. The trophies as well, and just the sheer numbers as well. Now the sheer weight of numbers is just enormous.
And his colleagues as well have recognised him as the best player in the league multiple times. You know, he's a phenomenon, and we're at the back end of his career now, of course, because he's 33. No doubt we'll have seen the best of him, I would imagine, by now. But when you look back at his career, and when we look back fondly in 10 years and we're picking Liverpool all-time 11s, I think there'll be still a strong argument that Mo Salah's in it.
Yeah, listen, I'm not disagreeing with any of that, but my issue was it was between Salah and Suarez. So I had to pick Suarez because my dad used to say to me, I'd say to him, who's the best player you've ever seen play for Liverpool? And he'd say, the best player I've ever seen is Kenny Dalglish, the most influential player is Graham Souness. And then, years later, I remember having the same thoughts, because Gerrard was the best I've ever seen. But then I realised, no, Suarez is the best I've ever seen. The best, but Gerrard is the most influential player I've ever seen play football. He could help every single one of his teammates through a game and still score the goal that wins the game.
It's nice that we've come to a position here we both fully agree on that statement. Absolutely the best player.
I've loved this. I'm going to have to do it again at some point soon. Absolute business. Stu Wright, Kev Walsh, we're in the Mayflower, we're with Erdinger. Have a fantastic international break.